Okay, we're going to start Pesach Maimorim now. So we're going to learn Sheishis Yomim. We learned it already, but again. So it's in Lukut Torah, Parshas Tzav, page Yud Gimel, bottom of the first column. Okay, the pasuk says, Sheishis Yomim Teichel Matzah, 6 days you should eat matzahs. V'yayim hashvi atzeres Hashem Elokecha. The seventh day is a Yom Tov. So we need to understand how could the Torah say you should eat matzah 6 days? Another pasuk says you should eat matzah 7 days. So in fact Rashi asked the question, the Gemara, everybody asked the question. One pasuk, it's a contradiction. One pasuk says 6 days eat matzah, another pasuk says 7 days eat matzah.
Some people only eat 1 day.
Yeah, I know. By the way, the Gemara learned out with a whole dreidel that the mitzvah of eating matzah is only the first night. The inyan is, now he's speaking according to Chassidus, not the halacha. Here it's not telling us primarily the mitzvah of eating matzah, because then another pasuk says 7 days eat matzah. What is the pasuk telling us? Shebeyem zayin atzeres. The Torah is primarily teaching on the seventh day is Yom Tov. But the Torah is teaching us, so why does it say 6 days eat matzah when in reality you're supposed to eat 7? What the Torah is teaching us is like this. Through eating matzah 6 days, in other words, Rebbe says like this. This pasuk is not teaching us the law of mitzvah of eating matzah. You have to eat matzah 7 days. What is this pasuk teaching us? That in order to come to the Yom Tov on the 7th day, it's only through eating matzah 6 days. In other words, by eating matzah 6 days, then you come to the 7th day, which is Yom Tov. And understand. What's the connection? By eating matzah 6 days, then you'll come to Yom Hashvi Atzeres. Okay? The question, what's the connection between the two? What's unique about the 7th day of Pesach? It's not stam the 7th day of Pesach. It's the day of Kriyas Yamsuf. Okay? So here the Torah is basically saying like this. How do you come to Kriyas Yamsuf? By eating matzah 6 days. But the question is, Pesach Mitzrayim in Mitzrayim itself, they were only forbidden to eat chametz 1 day. Not 7 days like nowadays. In that day, they were only not allowed to eat the chametz together with the korban Pesach, which meant like this. In the reality, in the original Mitzrayim, by eating matzah 1 day, they were able to have Kriyas Yamsuf. And we have to eat matzah 6 days to come to Kriyas Yamsuf. That doesn't make sense. The original happened through 1 day, and now the remembrance is through 6 days.
In the original, did they have a regular challah in between?
Whatever, chametz. So it comes out that in Mitzrayim they actually merited the real Kriyas Yamsuf without 6 days. Yet, why do you have to have for us 7 days to come to Kriyas Yamsuf? And not only that, but the pasuk implies that not only only by eating matzah 6 days do you come to the level of Kriyas Yamsuf. So far there's two questions. What's the connection between eating matzah 6 days and Kriyas Yamsuf? And secondly, why by Mitzrayim it was 1 day enough and we need 6 days? Another thing we need to understand, Mashvi shel Pesach, by the Yom Tov Shvi shel Pesach, there says Atzeres Lashem Elokecha. It's a holding back for Hashem. And yet, Shmini Atzeres, by Sukkot, it also says Atzeres, but the verse says Atzeres Ti Elochem. By Pesach it says that we're holding back, meaning the Yom Tov is for Hashem. L'Hashem Elokecha. And by Shmini Atzeres it says Atzeres Tia Lochem. The Gam Love and Masha Kos. Another thing we need to understand, it says in the Pasuk, they baked the bread, the dough, that they took out of Mitzrayim. Oges matzahs kilei chometz. They baked, the Pasuk says like this, when the Jews ran out of Mitzrayim, they didn't have any time. Kigoshim in Mitzrayim. They had no time to waste. So therefore they baked the dough matzah because it didn't have a chance to rise. They were just running out. The mashma, which implies shezel nesinas tam, this is a reason. Lama shafu matzahs v'lei chametz. So from here the Torah implies, why did they bake matzah? Not because they had to. Because there's no choice. The Pasha were running out and the dough didn't have enough chance to rise. But that tomorrow, it's a wonder. They were not allowed to eat chametz. They weren't allowed to bake chametz. In other words, it doesn't make sense. The Pasuk says, why did they bake it matzah, not chametz? Because they didn't have time for the dough to rise. Which means without that, they could have baked it chametz. The problem is the Torah commanded them to eat matzah. So they had no choice anyway. Wasn't because they didn't have a chance. Okay.
Is that a second reason? It's a historical reason, a factual reason.
That's it.
But, no, there was also a commandment.
So then why does it say that was the fact?
It happened simultaneously.
Yeah, but if there's a mitzvah, then it wasn't because. Why did the Jews eat matzah? Yeah, because Hashem said no, not because they didn't have the chance to rise.
But it's also a factual, historical fact.
But why is the Torah telling a historical fact if they were commanded to do it? Obviously, it's two different things. What?
What did they eat matzah in Mitzrayim before? All in all?
Different interpretations in the commentaries. Some of Hashem learn that the Jews, like the slaves, ate matzah because it was a cheap food. But not all the Mepharshim agree with that. Because the Pasuk says, we remember we ate a lot of good food. When they complained, where's the beef? Anyway, we say in the Agada, why do we eat matzah? In the Megillah, in Agada Shal Pesach, we say matzah zu shanu eichlem al shumma. Why do we eat this matzah? Because the dough didn't have a chance to rise. He says, they had to eat matzah anyway. What do you mean? Because the dough didn't have a chance to rise. But not only that, now that Alter Rebbe is asking. It says, it didn't have a chance to rise until Hashem revealed himself. Now, when did Hashem reveal himself? After midnight. When was the mitzvah of eating matzah in Mitzrayim? Before midnight. Because they had to eat it together with the Korban Pesach. When's the Korban Pesach brought? Before midnight. They had to eat it before midnight. Because they had to eat the Korban Pesach before midnight. So again, it doesn't make sense. Here we're saying in the Agada, the matzah that we eat is because Hashem revealed upon themselves and it couldn't become chametz. That happened after midnight. But the Jews were commanded to eat matzah before midnight. So what is going on over here? In fact, the question is even stronger because halachically, you have to eat matzah before midnight. If you eat matzah after halachic midnight, you're not yotze the mitzvah matzah. It's like you bench lulav on Pesach. You have to eat it by a proper time. You have to eat it before midnight. Yet we're saying in that God that the matzah that we eat now before midnight is corresponding with the matzah they ate after midnight. So dafka v'im kain How could we say it's because Hashem revealed? Okay, so there's a bunch of questions over here. Number 1, 6 and 7. So he says, okay, so eating matzah 6 days, it comes to AVM. So what's the connection between the two? Secondly, Kriyas Yamsuf in Mitzrayim itself happened by eating matzah 1 day. Why do we need now 7 days? Then he asked, what's going on with the matzah? We eat before midnight, it's after midnight. They were anyway commanded, not because the dough didn't have a chance to rise. So obviously, as we learned already many years, there's 2 types of matzah. There's a pre-midnight matzah and there's a post-midnight matzah. But there's 2 different aspects over here of matzah. There's a matzah which was commanded, and there's a matzah which factually.
Which one is $30 a pound?
Huh?
Which one is $30 a pound?
Before.